Yeah, no, thank you so much for your time. This is super exciting. How are you?
I'm great.
Yeah,
I'm really excited to meet you.
yeah, I'm very, very excited to meet you. So you're actually from Quebec, right?
Yeah, I'm from Montreal originally, but I
Oh,
live in the western part of Canada.
yeah, and how was that transition?
I mean, I did it when I was really young. So
Oh,
I
okay.
moved out here when we were 5, and then I would go back for the summers and go see my family.
Oh, okay, that's
And
cool.
yeah, and then when I made the national team, we were training on like the very west coast of Canada. So
Yeah.
you had to be there. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Oh, cool. Well, so I grew up in well, I was born and raised Mississauga.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, and then I went to uni at University of Manitoba, so in Winnipeg.
Okay. In
And that
Winnipeg, yeah.
Yeah, and then that was
Cool.
yeah, that was a little bit of a shock, like a completely different way of life. Uh
Yeah, totally.
yeah, so it was just
Did
kind
you
of
like it though?
uh, uh I think eventually I did. I think it wasn't that I
Yeah.
didn't like it at first, it was just I hadn't experienced that before.
Yeah,
But you like make all your friends and learn to appreciate the culture and the area and the country and the history of the area. Um,
totally.
yeah, so it was awesome. Did you train today? You look fresh.
No, I'm retired. So
Oh, wait, so you're not like you
no,
don't do anything at all, like even like on the
I
side or something
haven't.
like that?
Well, I do other stuff. Yeah, no. But so I work full time and I just signed up for my first high rocks competition.
Oh,
So
cool.
yeah, so pray for me. I'm like jokingly saying that I just joined a cult when I talk about high rocks, but no, it should be fun. I'm doing it with one of my teammates from rowing, so that's really
Yeah.
exciting.
Uh,
But yeah, yeah, I'm just transitioning to being a
yeah.
normal human. I just
Yeah.
haven't announced my retirement
No,
like publicly yet, which it's not a secret, but
mhm.
uh, it'll probably be going out on all socials middle of next week sometime. So
Oh,
yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
What's High Rocks?
Okay, High Rocks is like it's kind of like CrossFit, but it's like a competition where you do 1 kilometer of running and then there's a station
Mm.
and then you do it 8 times. So there's 8 kilometers of running total, split up into 1 kilometer chunks and then different stations. So one of them is like rowing. So that's what
Yeah.
attracted me to it first.
Yeah.
And then like the ski erg and like lunges and farmer carries and like a bunch of stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's like
That's
extreme stuff.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
well, extreme within
Yeah.
context. Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah. So tell me about yourself. So you play rugby?
Yeah, so okay, so I grew up playing like American football, so football.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
then so that was my goal. Like I wanted to go to university and play with the men and the guys. So I've never
Yeah.
played with women. And then
Okay.
that was just so what I
Cool.
was when I was 9, I was like that's what I was laser focused on.
Cool.
And then I got recruited to U of M, and then I made that happen, and then COVID hit. And then I had one more year left of school, and I'm like, "Ah, I don't really want to coach because I'm not gonna go to the
Yeah.
CFL, right?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go to the NFL, which is fine. I did what I did. But I'm like, let me transition. Like I want to transit. Like I still want to play. And then rugby was always in the back of my mind, but I didn't want to pursue rugby in high school and stuff because I didn't want people to be like, oh, you should just play rugby instead. Like I just wanted to be
Yeah.
focused. Um, and then I'm like, okay, how the heck am I gonna do that? And I'm Japanese. So I wanted to play in Japan. Like I'm like, okay, this is my
Okay,
way of
cool.
yeah, this is my way of like going there because I always felt in my heart there's something I had to discover over there. Um,
Yeah.
and then I'm like, oh, my family friend, he's a business guy. He's like, get LinkedIn. So literally two
Yeah.
days straight on LinkedIn, I was going crazy. I was just networking day and night. Like I think sent like over 1,000 messages and like requests. And then long story short, my I got in contact with my now GM, and within 3 days, he's like, "Here's, you know, please come." And
Cool.
I was super honest. I'm like, "Look, I have like zero experience. I'm not like, I'm not gonna be an asset in any way for a while." And then he's like, yeah, like you kind of like a project and da, da, da. And so that's sort of the mindset going into Japan. So I've been doing it for 3 years now. So I'm a rookie.
Cool.
I'm still a rookie. I'm still a baby in the game.
That's cool. Where in
Yeah.
Japan?
Do you know much about, do you know the area a little bit? Have you competed a bit in
I've
Japan?
been. I went this year. Well, I competed in Tokyo, but we didn't see Japan, so I went back this year.
Yep.
Yeah.
Um, just outside Nagoya,
Which is
which is so if you take the bullet train, so it's normally
yeah.
people to take the bullet train to from Tokyo to Kyoto or Osaka.
Yeah.
That's the
Okay, yeah.
halfway point.
Okay. Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I'm
So I was on that train.
okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. No,
Yeah.
that makes me ha did you like Japan?
I loved it. I went half
Okay.
ski trip, half tourist
Yep.
trip.
Yep.
So I grew up alpine ski racing. So I went to Hokkaido and went to Niseko, and we kind of went pretty like, touristy areas for skiing just
Mm,
to like get a feel for it. And now
mm,
I'd like to go back and
mm,
do more backcountry and more exploring.
mm,
But it was amazing. And then we went to Kyoto and Tokyo,
mm,
and
mm, mm,
I
mm.
want to go back. And like the food is unreal. It's
Yeah,
like
it's so good, right?
so good. I love Japanese food. I always have, and everybody's
Mm.
like, wait till you go to Japan and really
Yeah.
get a feel for it. And there's so many places that, we didn't try because we
Yeah.
didn't do reservations early enough and
Mm.
stuff, but we really enjoyed it. So it was great.
Oh, that makes me happy when people like Japan.
Yeah.
That makes me, that makes me happy.
Yeah. Oh my
Um,
gosh, I feel like I have so many friends that went to Japan this year, and all anybody says is
yeah.
really great things. I haven't met one person that doesn't like it. Like,
ありがとうござ
yeah,
い
I
ま
love
す。
yeah. Arigatou gozaimasu.
はい。
Uh, that's about all I could say.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it was amazing.
No, that's awesome. Can you like going back a little bit because I'm curious because that transition phase from being like an Olympic athlete, like a pro athlete, you dedicate your whole life to this thing and this one goal. Um, and now it's transitioning into retirement. Like, sort of, what's that like?
I mean, I'm really enjoying it, to be honest.
Mm,
I was ready for it.
mm,
I always thought I was going to do one Olympics and then retire because I started rowing at 23 and then was 30 years old on my first Olympics. So I
mm, mm,
kind of was like, I'll probably just do one and that'll be it. And then a bunch of stuff happened, COVID happened, and then it was going to be 3 years till the next Olympics.
mm.
So I was like, okay, I'm going to keep pushing for one more.
Yeah.
But I always knew that that was going to be it. And I think after Tokyo, I would have regretted retiring had I retired. Whereas like after Paris, I was ready. Like even leading up to Paris, I was like soaking every moment. It's going to be bittersweet, but I was like, I'm good. I've achieved what I want. No matter
Mm,
how this Olympics ends, like the results or otherwise, like I'm at peace. And then amazingly we medaled again, so that was great. And I got to celebrate that with my family, which we didn't get to do in Tokyo because of COVID. And yeah, so I always knew that was probably going to be it. Maybe do like one or two more races, but I wasn't going to do an entire quadrennial. And yeah, so I've been like preparing for a long time, and I think I feel very grateful. Like I'm healthy. I've had a very successful career. Um, I got to retire on my own terms.
yeah.
Like I feel very lucky, so I don't have any complaints, and it's like this chapter is going to end at some point.
Mm,
I think it's great that I just, am not resentful of the sport or got kicked off the team or anything. I just was like, no, I'm good. I've achieved what I wanted to, and there's so much more to me that I'm excited to explore. So it's
yeah.
for sure I miss it some days, but
Mm,
I don't miss training 6 hours a day and rowing thousands of kilometers. Like I just don't. So um I still am super active and fit, but I just do other stuff and
mm.
still stay involved in the community in other capacities. So it's really good.
Yeah, for sure. And so you were originally a skier, right? And then transitioned into rowing? Or
I wouldn't call it transition. So I retired from skiing in high school. Broke my leg in a race that was kind of like make it or break it, intended.
Mhm.
And and I got an opportunity to coach right after. So I thought that was it for my Olympic dream. And to be honest, like I was a really hard worker for skiing. Like I was really fit. I was like lifting a lot in the gym. And I definitely had some amount of talent, but I was not the most talented ski racer out there. And definitely a much better rower than I am ski racer. Although skiing is probably what I loved most. And I love rowing in a completely different way. But um, yeah, and then so then I started rowing like 6 years after that. So there
Mm.
was a big gap and was pretty out of shape when I started rowing and then quickly got into shape. So that was cool.
Yeah, that's in no because how you say like you got to basically retire and kind of play out your career on your own terms. Um
Yeah.
I imagine from your injury like after skiing like you understand that like you have that experience and you understand those values and that like that's not always the case. You can't always finish how you'd like or
Yeah.
you know on your own terms. Like not everybody knows when they go to the Olympics like I gotta soak in the moment because this is like I'm ready to transition after this, you know? So um
Yeah.
you probably had that like sort of wisdom and experience when you were a bit younger. Um
Yeah. For sure. Like when I was 17 and I broke my leg, I was like devastated, heartbroken. I didn't know what I was going to do with my life. I mean, you're 17, you're a kid.
yeah.
Like your brain's not developed. So, yeah, it was heartbreaking. And then knowing, I think it's all relative. So, I talk to many people and they're like, oh, but I'm not an Olympic athlete like you. And I'm like, it's all relative. Like the heartbreak you feel when you retire, or something happens, like it's all the same. It's just at different levels. And I think maybe sometimes for sure it can hold a certain weight. And, having stuff happen around the Olympics can be devastating, but it's heartbreak is heartbreak. And I think people can relate to that. So, yeah, I knew how that felt like and knew I didn't want to feel that again. And I was very close to feeling that again, but lucky it didn't pan out that way. And yeah, it just honestly I got to rewrite kind of the final chapter of my athletic story, which was really really special.
Yeah, that is super special. 'Cause I'm kind of like, well, so I started rugby at 23, and then
Cool.
I had three ACL like three knee surgeries.
Oh yeah.
Like I've done the whole thing, and so like, and then when you also so I'm just I like hearing you speak because it's relatable to me. Um,
Yeah.
and then you were saying how you love rowing in a different way. Versus skiing's kind of like that's your first love, right? I would imagine.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think I feel the same way with rugby. Like can you dive into that just a little bit? Like what do you mean like you
Yeah.
love rowing in a different way?
So like if somebody were to ask me like do you want to go out for a paddle or do you want to go hit the slopes? Like I'm always going to pick the slopes. That's
Yeah.
that's like my love. I feel free when I'm on the mountain and like when I'm skiing a powder day, like the happiest I can be. Like for me that feeling is like almost
Mm.
except maybe the feeling of winning Olympic gold, but I
Yeah.
guess that's the difference is like
Mm.
I think I loved like I was never and still not the best skier in the world and never was gonna be, but I like purely love the sport. I think it's a very special sport and I love the process of doing that sport.
Mm.
Rowing is different where I love racing. I'm a competitor. Like I'm very, very competitive. And for sure, skiing was competitive and I still get competitive when I go down the hill, but not in the same way. Whereas like rowing was my outlet to be the best in the world. And it was tangible, right? Like I could be the best in the world in rowing.
Mm.
And so I always loved that. And there's moments where I've loved training and there's moments where I've really struggled in training just because it's a grind. Like
Mm.
skiing, very explosive, it's anaerobic, probably closer to rugby. And and I loved that. Whereas like rowing's a lot of like aerobic base in kilometers, and that's not I would say my body prefers to do. Definitely not
Yeah.
what my mind prefers to do, but I think I'm just like very explosive and powerful and versus like really aerobically fit. And then the more I trained, the more I got used to it. So that definitely helped. And then you get better at it, and that's definitely helpful. But like, is rowing inherently fun? Like, maybe, maybe not. I will say there's something like very special about a boat that's moving well and like feels like you feel the glide and there's like an element of magic to it. Yeah, that's super cool. And that's what keeps you going. I do love that. But I also love just like competing with my teammates and like
Yeah.
doing it for something bigger.
Yep.
Whereas skiing is always an individual sport. So like there's, pros and cons to both, but I think skiing was just my first love, so it has a like special place in my heart. And then rowing was special to me because it allowed me to live out my dreams.
Yeah, I think I no, I love how you articulated that because I think that's exactly yeah, that's how I feel as well. I love how you say
Mhm.
like the outlet for you to be the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's exactly yeah. I've been trying to search for a way to articulate that, but I think I feel that way with rugby,
Cool.
in a lot of ways. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
And also I was gonna ask like when you're talking about like that glide in the boat, like you're coming from an individual sport and then you transition into a team sport. And like I only know team sport in the context of football and rugby, but in terms of like can you yeah, just elaborate on that a little bit? Like what's the difference between like the I have no idea what it's like to compete as an individual versus,
Yeah.
on a team.
So I grew up playing soccer every summer, which is again one of the sports I love a lot.
Mm,
Again, never was going to be a super high level soccer player, I don't think, but I just genuinely, I think it's so fun. Like
mm,
played it this summer for the first time in a very long time too, which was so great. But I feel, and then like ski racing, you're an individual athlete from the start gate to the finish line, and the result is yours. But there's still a team around you. You're still training with other people, your support staff, your coaches. Like it's still a team. Um, and then there's kind of rowing, which I find is a team sport, but also kind of is more in the middle of both,
hmm.
where day to day you're competing against your teammates. You're always competing for a spot in the boat. Like the lineup is never set for a boat until like maybe a month before a race, including the Olympics. So like it's interchangeable at any time. So you are interchangeable.
Hmm.
And it's not like, okay, there's a position, there's three people for that position. You might play at some point, which in soccer, there's subs, you're still part of the team even when you're benched.
Hmm.
Rowing is not like
Hmm.
that. You're either in the boat or you're out of the boat, and the
Right.
result is earned whether you're in the boat and not out of the boat. So
Hmm.
it's kind of weird. You're always competing against your teammates, but then once the boat is set, then you're expected to like come together as a unit. So you have to build this very unique relationship with your teammates throughout the winter where you're trying to elevate each other to be the best you can be, but like you want to be the best you can be, so you make sure you're part of that boat as well.
Hmm.
So I always found it easiest to train not like I was making the boat, but like I was training to be the best in the world. And then by consequence, I would always be in that boat.
Hmm.
And that's what happened.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
so once I really started to think like that, it was probably 8 to 10 months into being on the national team. There's definitely a big learning curve and adjustment, but within that first year and a bit, I made the women's eight, and then I was in the women's eight for
Right.
the rest of my career. And it was like I'm never even going to question that I'm going to be in this boat
Mm,
most of the time. It's still always stressful, and I don't mean that in like a cocky way. It's just like that's not worth my energy.
mm,
My energy is more well placed being the best I can be and being the best in the world, and by consequence, everything will sort itself out.
No, I don't take it as cocky at all. And I think if you're like a competitor, I think if you're a professional, I think if this is what you do, no, I love that. I respect that. Yeah, you're not really focused on like what's like right here. You're kind of focused
Yeah.
on here. And no, I think that's a really good way of thinking about it. And obviously it like it panned out well. I mean, you guys won gold.
Yeah.
Um, and
Yeah.
I was also wondering, sort of like what was because you had an injury, right, prior to the actual Olympics. So what was going on there? Like, how was that mentally?
Yeah, really tough. So 40 days before the Olympic opening ceremony, I was out on a training ride with a bunch of my teammates at our Olympic prep camp in Canada. And I crashed on my bike and took two of my teammates down with me. And it was really ugly. And I was completely shredded all over my body. My bike was snapped in half. My forehead was open. Got brought to the hospital. We were out of cell service, so my coach drove the three of us down. Luckily, my teammates that I took down, because there was this immense sense of guilt too, that it was my fault that I took them down. Luckily, they were back in the boat within the week, but and they had their own struggles coming back as well. But I broke my collarbone and yeah, required 60 stitches all over my body and had a hematoma on my hip and my you can see my kneecap and you see my forehead and yeah.
Mm.
So I got surgery 3 days later and got a plate put in my collarbone with 10 screws and decided that if there was going to be a way to come back and get back in that boat, I was going to find it. And it was probably because of all the other injuries I've sustained, breaking my leg in skiing and ending my career and tearing my ACL playing soccer and like all these other stupid injuries I've had kind of prepped me for this one. And yeah, so 3.5 weeks after my surgery, I had to go to Japan. My team had already been there doing their Olympic prep, and I had to race my spare and re-earn my seat in boat. And so the winner of that race was going to be in the boat at the Olympics, and the loser was going to be sent home the next day. So it was very, very stressful, and that's the short version of the story.
Yeah, for sure.
Uh, and I think I'd rode like 3 days before that race just because I wasn't cleared and I was training on the
Oh,
bike the whole time.
wow.
So I got cleared right before. I think it was like the day before I flew out that I would be cleared to do this race. And so it was very stressful. Everything was up in the air, and I'm a pretty confident person, pretty confident in my ability. I had we do a thing called seat racing, which is how you earn your spot in the boat. You race against your teammates, and the fastest person wins, essentially, in a very condensed, quick version of that. And I'd done historically very well in seat racing, so to do one more was like I really had to psych myself up and be like, hey, you know what you're doing. You need to draw on your confidence. But for sure there was doubt. For sure there was fear. And I think it would have been stupid to not think there would be.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I earned my back my spot, and then the next day we went into the Olympic Village and started competing a week later. So it was very, very intense and
Wow.
definitely the most stressful thing I experienced in my life in terms of like just the physical and mental stress of, sustaining injury and needing to recover by a certain time. And not only that, not only needing to recover in that month, but still keep up training. So I was fit enough to race the biggest race of my life, like an
Yeah.
Olympic final.
Oh my God.
So yeah, it was crazy, stressful. But then once I made the boat and I went into the Olympic Village in Tokyo, I was like so relieved. I was like, I made it. I'm here. Now I get to do what I've been training to do for the last, 7 years.
Yeah.
And so it's not just one month that's going to set me back because I have years and years of training and years of experiences. And then on top of that, years of experiences being an athlete in different sports, in different situations, different injuries. So I really had to draw back on everything to get my confidence up and be ready to race. And honestly, like racing is hard physically, of course, but like mentally felt like the easy part because I felt like I knew what I was doing. I felt like my teammates were like we had a really special group in that eight that I wanted to be in there with. I knew we had the potential to do something really cool
Mm,
and we would be really, if we raced our best race, we had the potential to win.
mm,
And I wanted to be a part of that. And more so, I thought I could add a piece of the puzzle
mm,
that like nobody, I had to convince myself that I could add a piece of the puzzle that nobody else could.
mm.
And so I wasn't the deciding factor, but I was a contributing factor, if that makes sense.
It
That's what I
does.
told myself.
Mm,
And then, yeah, we raced a heat, a rep, so like a semi, and then went into the final and we led from start to finish, and it was the craziest, highest high I've ever had in my life.
yeah,
So went from like the lowest of lows to highest of highs, and
yeah.
it was really cool. But then after, I felt like also the recovery from that was really hard on my body, like
Mm,
all your hormones and everything that's flowing through you, and then you're on the come down of it. And I'm sure you've heard, so many people talk about like the post-Olympic blues and what happens after, no matter the result, people get hit with that.
mm,
Um, and so I thought I would retire and then I wasn't sure and I knew that would be hard on my relationship. I knew it would be hard on me. I knew it would be hard on my family, but ultimately, yeah, like I said, I would have regretted not continuing. So with
mm.
everyone's support, I continued on and then I got to have my now husband in Paris, my sister and my parents watch me race and medal again and see it through their eyes, which was so special. So it was really worth it.
That's
So that's
awesome.
that's the short version, even though rambled there. That's the short
No.
version of a very, very long story. So yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. No, it's so hard to like condense such a experience into just words and like put it in
Yeah.
such a yeah, it's really hard. No, so you're not rambling, don't worry. Like I love hearing about it.
Yeah.
And I feel it. Like I feel it from you and I think that's like yeah, that's the important thing. I was also my friend was also wondering about the post-Olympic blues. Sorry, I keep asking
Yeah.
questions, but you're just so in
That's okay.
no, I'm feeling it. And um regards to your relationship because you were because I was looking at one of your posts and then um I mean that's such a t like I know from my teammates and other girls on other teams and I only know from like the rugby community and the people that I associate with but sometimes that can be really tough first off
Yeah.
like when you're an athlete and like your mentality your lifestyle is a certain way so first off like meeting with somebody with who respects your values or even
Mhm.
has similar values is quite difficult. Um, and then once you get that, then maintaining the relationship can be quite tough with the type of lifestyle that we live.
Yeah.
So what was that like? I mean, you had to be
I mean, it
patient for
was
quite a while,
tough.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, I was tough. Yeah, my husband and I have been together for the better part of 10 years now, and like we spent 6.5 of those years apart. So like it's funny because we got married right after the Olympics last year, and now it's like learning how to live with somebody again versus like, and I was an A-type athlete, so it's like I had my routine. This is how I function. I can't function otherwise. This is how I do things, and now it's like adapting again. So it was really tough, and like 6.5 years of long distance or whatever it ended up being. It was maybe like closer to 6 years, but it was not for the weak. I would not recommend it.
Yeah.
But so glad we did it.
Mm,
And, it's not without its challenges, but yeah, I feel very lucky that he supported me and very grateful. And he was there throughout my injury. He flew out and helped me.
mm,
Um, and then, continuing on to Paris was a big decision. And he was like, I'm not going to hold you back. Like, if this is what you want to do. And like having him there and him actually experiencing the Olympics as well with like my family and seeing my sister and him kind of have that like I always described it, me and my like couple of my teammates always described it as like our holy shit moment. Like
Mm,
when I got to the Olympic Village in Tokyo, I saw the Olympic rings. That was my holy shit moment. Like, oh my God, I'm here. I made it. I'm an Olympian. That's crazy. Like I've
mm,
wanted this all my life. And then in Paris, I didn't quite get that because I felt like I got it the first time and we won. And so then it was like it had like a different weight to it. It was very cool, but in a different way. Whereas like when I saw my sister and my husband, they had their holy shit moment. So it was like
oh,
really cool seeing it like through their eyes and seeing like, oh my God, I'm at the Olympics watching like my sister or my fiance at the time, whatever. So that was really cool. And that like really made it worth it. Like especially when we won our silver medal, like seeing my parents and them and like going to hug them after, like that was what I had dreamed for, all my life is you visualize or like, dream of that moment where you're really successful or like win gold or whatever. And like the first thing you think about would be you go on the podium, you get your medal. What are you going to do after? You're going to go hug your family and friends. Like that's you jumped in the crowd like that's that moment.
mm,
So yeah, I got my moment in Paris and so then it was like everything was so worth it.
mm,
So,
mm, mm.
I mean, there's always going to be things in life that are difficult, but sometimes they're like most of the time they're the most worth it.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That's all. That's so special. Oh, like
Yeah.
you feel so good. Like oh, like you this person who worked really, really hard and like just thugged it out for years, and then at the end like it's wrapped up nicely. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah,
Of course, it didn't come like it came with its stresses and stuff, but
for
it's
sure.
just awesome. Is there anything that like you've never been asked or you don't really get asked that you wish you were asked? Or any topics or anything that's like really important to you or insights that you've had recently? Kind of open floor.
Oh, good question also. Not particularly. To be honest, like there's not many things that people ask me that I'm like really thrown off by or whatever. I feel like I guess you can really navigate your own story and like make it whatever you want. And I've always felt like I've had a sense of control over that. And so despite, being an athlete in a niche sport, like it's given me a lot of opportunity. And yeah, do I wish I played a sport that millions of people watched? Like, yeah, I do. Like I wish I was a men's hockey player or something,
Mm, mm,
or
mm, mm,
even, a Canadian soccer player, female soccer player that actually people know who they are. I think that would have been really cool, but that wasn't my path. And I still got this like amazing opportunity. Um, I guess I think if there's one thing I want people to know is like I think people really thought I was set up after we won our Olympic gold. Like I think people really thought we were all set up for life after that, and we really weren't. Like we don't make much money as athletes, and you think as an Olympic champion you're gonna return and everything's gonna be all good. Like, I mean, our training center was a joke. Like, and I'm pretty open about that, and everyone in Canada knows that I feel that way.
mm,
Um, and I don't like really. I blame it partially on some of the stuff that happened internally, but not all of it because they're underfunded. Like,
mm,
so I mean, there's a bunch of factors to that, but yeah, the first year was tough. There was no buildings, like there was no showers for a long time where we were
mm,
training. So like, basic necessities were not being filled. And
mm,
then people are like, "Oh, you're an Olympic champion, and how cool is it to like train now? You're so set up for life. Like, do you have a
mm.
retirement fund?" And it's like, no, I make
No.
like 30 grand a year,
Yep.
and my training center, like, there's better training centers for Canadian universities. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
so I think that's a big misconception. And I think that, funnily enough, timely with what's happening with Canadian women's rugby right now, and so excited to watch the game tomorrow.
Mm,
Um, but they've had to like fundraise for themselves, and I think sometimes people think, oh, like, look how well they're doing and they have no support. Like, do they really need much else? And it's like, yes, they do, because this cannot last forever. It's exhausting and they will burn out. They're
Mhm.
just showing you how good they are and
Mhm.
how much they deserve to be funded and supported. And they need support.
Mhm.
And actually, it's incredible how far they've come with the lack of support. If anything, that's just a testament to how amazing of a team we have
Mhm.
and the desire that they have. But that's not something that'll last forever if they don't get the support they need. That's
Yeah.
like a that's like a them showcasing why they need the support, I
Yep.
think more so.
No, 100%. And I hear a lot of Canadian athletes, like especially like fe not just especially female athletes, but I hear a lot of Canadian athletes talk about that.
Hmm.
The lack of support. And it's just like, I don't know the details and I'm not in the Canadian system and I'm sure there's a lot that get like is involved, but um we're like Canada is strong all around. Like when you look at the world stage, like Canada's no
Yeah.
joke. Like genuine competitors like in winter and summer sports. And like it's just kind of sometimes you hear things and you're like, "What? Really?"
Yeah.
Like I don't know anyone on the Canadian side, but I know like a handful of the Blackburn girl like on the New Zealand side, but it's kind of bad, but I was really happy for us. Like I was happy
Yeah.
for Canada, even though like I knew like the Blackburn girls. 'Cause I know how hard it is to be a rugby player in Canada. Like it's not easy.
Yeah, it's not easy at all. And it's like, I think that's the thing that Canadian athletes have is like, as you see the rise of like summer Canadian athletes, particularly, because I feel like we've always been strong in winter. And now, like, even in athletics, like the stuff that's happening is so exciting. And it's like, we are that good. But on top of that, we're extremely resilient as
Mhm.
like Canadian athletes. We are resilient.
Mhm.
Um, Summer athletes train through the winter.
Yeah.
They are dealing with winter conditions as to fulfill their summer sports. I know we dealt with it being rowers.
Mhm.
And so it's just, I think that's the one thing we have going for us is how resilient we are. But at the same time, like I wish that resilience could just be better used on stuff that is more pertaining to sport versus like
Mhm.
stuff that's out of it.
Mhm.
And then, as for New Zealand, like, oh my God, the New Zealand women's rugby team, I've known who they have been for a long time and like always watching them perform their haka and like all that. Like, it's been so cool. And like, we had a very competitive relationship with the Kiwi rowers, but
Yeah.
also a good one. And I think that's like there's something really cool about like Canada and New Zealand. There's a big level of respect across
Mhm.
different sports actually and a lot of strength. And they're not a big country either. And
No.
they have these incredible athletes. So yeah, like when we were in Tokyo, we defeated the reigning world champs and they came second, and that was New Zealand.
Mhm.
And they didn't have an eight in Paris with us and we didn't have any other boats in any other categories except a lightweight women's double. So all the heavyweight events that the Kiwis were in, that's who we were cheering for because we had so much respect for them.
Mhm.
And they had some really, really, really exciting results. So it was really cool to be there for that too.
Yeah, for sure. And like because I'm in New Zealand right now and because
Yeah.
it's the off season in Japan, but
Mm,
in a week and a half the season's gonna start up, so I'm gonna fly back to Japan. Um,
okay.
it's a special place. Like it's a special place
Yeah.
and like it's cool that you say like that connection between Canada and New Zealand because also I feel like there's a special connection between New Zealand and Japan. So it's
Yeah.
cool coming from both places. Like New Zealand,
Yeah.
like yeah, there's something special about it, and it's cool to have that international relationship, and you can have that in
Yeah.
sport. Um, but yeah,
100%.
but yeah, I'm just gonna stop the recording. Don't go anywhere. I'm just gonna stop the recording.